Welcome back to the Flaherty Solutions podcast. We are camping.
Ooh.
I like changing it up a little bit. I know you kind of want to be all professional
Sometimes.
in our kitchen. I like...
Because that's where professional happens, in our kitchen.
It's COVID, baby. It's where professional happens for everybody
And this
now.
is where you can vacation.
Right.
In a safe manner.
So I did a whole article on camping that's actually going to come out in my newsletter the same time as this podcast. So camping's fantastic. You can still have a dream vacation and camp on any budget.
Wait, time out. So, just so you know, you're going to hear background noise. You might see people walking by. Probably not. But you will hear background noises, and that's completely fine.
Literally chopping wood, which is awesome. And I am loving the vibe.
Yeah.
Is this okay? I'm loving the vibe from that campground over there. They're playing Patsy Cline. I think we might be done for a little bit. They're playing Patsy Cline over there. They're playing Nancy Sinatra.
Yes.
I
don't know who Nancy Sinatra is.
These boots are made for walking.
Wow. You're going to show everybody your voice?
They'll do. One of these days, these boots are going to walk all over you. Okay, so to continue from last week, I bought a new cup, and we are Yeti snobs, so it had to be Yeti.
Cheers.
Yes. And today, we are talking about what is your reality? Put another way, what is the narrative that you're telling yourself that your life's all about?
Whew. It's a very philosophical, but at the same time, very easy to break down and understand what you have going on in your life, in your world, and how to change your mindset if it is stressing you out or overwhelming. I don't know where you want to take it, but when I think of those things, I immediately go to what's stressing out me and everybody else right now. And that would be the news. And that's very easy to eliminate. But you mentioned you wrote a great article. Where do people find that article?
Oh, okay. Well, I wrote an article about camping that's going to air this week, but it's on the same platform as the article that aired last week, which is actually about what is your reality. Basically, we kind of switched.
Where do they go?
So they go to... Oh, man. So they go to the Flaherty Solutions podcast and the blog.
.com, and you subscribe right there for the newsletter. We don't do a lot with it, but it was a great article.
Okay, for the timeout. For the newsletter, we'll put the link in the show notes.
Yes.
But for articles, for the blog, that's something else. So we'll put that also in the show notes.
Sorry, we're in relaxation mode, so we're a
real.
Little
sorry.
All over the place.
Sorry, not sorry?
All right, we're done apologizing.
Yep.
Okay.
So everybody has a reality and a narrative. So it's built on beliefs that you maybe were taught as a child. And this sort of ties into our episode last week. It was I don't know, maybe it was about your attitude with money, but all of this kind of ties into what were you taught as a child? What do you believe now? How do the two tie in? Maybe you think the world is a really scary place and it's going to hell.
Ooh.
If you believe that, you will find evidence of it everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere. On the contrary, if you think the world is a great place, it's full of opportunity, people are generally good, you will find evidence of that everywhere.
Yes.
So it's up to you to decide, what do I want my reality to be, and what influences do I make sure that I have and not have to make sure that it's in alignment. And so real quick action items that you can do: turn off the news.
Yep.
Stop scrolling social media.
Oh yeah. Or
that's it. Mic drop. We're going to elaborate, but those two things, it'll change your reality.
So let me help for people that don't know. Take Facebook, for example, or YouTube. When you go down a rabbit hole, all right, and let's say you're looking at one political side, all right, YouTube recognizes that. So let's say you're searching everything Republican. The next video they want to suggest is a Republican dogma or the next Republican video. Same thing if you're watching things on the left, Democratic side. They want you to keep watching. They make money when you keep watching YouTube. So they want to put content that you're glued into. So they are intentionally putting those videos right in front of your face. So if you start down either political side, they're going to keep, so if things are really bad on one side and they're painting that picture, you're going to keep getting that. And when you keep hearing that message over and over and over again, you start believing it. Like, oh my God, the world is ending. All right.
And it does not matter which side you're on, it's all corrupt.
Yeah.
All the news channels are corrupt. So just because you think you're right, you're correct, they're all corrupt.
Yes.
And they will, and their job is to sensationalize and to keep making you watch. So not even social media, just general news is to make you keep watching and get angry and get emotional.
Because you're tuned in more. So for every 1% the stock market drops, viewership normally increases by 5 to 10%. So they're actually happy, the news outlets, CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox Business, when the news drops or the markets drop, because they know you're going to be like, oh man, my portfolio, I need to look. Mm-hmm. I need to watch. Same thing with horror on the news. In the 60s, the news only had like 5 to 10% negative stories. Now today, it takes up like 93% of that hour is nothing but negative to bring you down, to keep you in that loop of I need to pay attention because something could happen.
So I'm going to totally make a sharp turn.
Yeah, let's do it.
And offer a solution. Now, this may not be your jam, but so I was raised in a Christian household. You were too.
Yep.
And there's a little bit of like, there's some, not corruption, there was some like bad associations with that for a while. It's not like we've always been like the most religious people. So I've sort of I went away from my faith, and then I sort of came back because I went to Dr. Mowry on Kent Island.
Yep.
With the Healing and Wellness Center, and I was like, ooh, anytime I hear church, anytime I hear anything about religion or whatever, I get gun shy because I was raised in kind of, it wasn't the most healthy Christian church.
It's fire and brimstone, right?
It was fire and brimstone. No matter what you did, you were going to burn in hell.
Yeah.
So I was raised that way, but then sort of turned away from it because it's not an attractive way to grow up. No one wants to feel that way.
With your personality, you just don't mesh with that, and you got to make a hard exit.
I'm not the only one. I mean, I'm not being defensive, but that's not a great way. Defensive. Maybe I'm being defensive, but I'm not the only one who feels that way. And you had some things that you also kind of were like, oh, that's not. You were raised in the Catholic Church. Yeah. Not always the healthiest way to grow up either. So we both kind of like went away, and then when I went to go see Dr. Mowry, she was like, you need to get with some solid Christians.
Yeah.
And she was right. And so the reason I'm going this way and making a hard, sharp turn is because I've found that if you resonate with the Christian faith at all, maybe you're like me, where you were raised in it and sort of like, I don't like the way I was raised with it, but I'd like to go back in a healthy way. There's an app that's awesome called Jesus Calling. Ooh. It's actually a book, and they made it into an app. It's $9.99 for the app. If you don't like I don't need hard copy books, but every day it's a message that's positive and grounding in the faith. And so it's helped me come back. It's something I can focus on that's not social media. It's not news. It's not fire and brimstone. It's not guilt-inducing. It's just one of those things, like, it's never going to make you feel bad. Yeah. Even if you're not from the Christian faith, it's just a really good positive message. So if you want something to scroll, that's great. And it's a daily message. So check it out.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So
non-religion going the other direction.
Yeah.
Did you see my post on Facebook this week? I read your article. Did you read my post? Yeah, you did. You proofread it. I have her proofread all my posts because I'm terrible at grammar, number one.
Oh, okay.
You worry what? I want to know what you worry about.
No, I worried that I didn't see a post that that was something that I should have seen. Anyway, continue. You're not good at grammar, you said.
But yeah, she's not going to let anyone forget that, much less me.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm joking. So the point of the post was Facebook is amazing when you use it right. When you log in every day and you're just feeling your blood pressure rise, you feel your stress level increasing, you're doing Facebook wrong. Like, don't be mad at Facebook. Don't go like, I'm quitting Facebook, all right? Because it's just too connected to our lives, right? The way you should do Facebook is find your hobbies, find things you're passionate about. We're big into camping. It's our season of life. So now all of a sudden, we're in all these camping groups. and it's fun to interact with these people that we've never met, but they
And
have.
they're not fighting for the most part. They're not like, or
Yeah,
are
you got to be
they?
careful with some groups. Some groups are like, and just get out of them. Try to
Right.
find a different one. But
Right.
there's a group for everything. There's a group for camping. There's a group for quilting. There's a group for my kid won't sit on the potty.
Yeah.
Like there's a group for everything.
I'm in a group in the last 4 months. I think I've mentioned on the podcast. I've struggled with body image in the past, and I'm in an intuitive eating group. So
Yeah.
literally everybody who's trying to intuitively eat and not die, and kind of banish diet culture is literally in this like intuitive eating group, and there are rules in every group, right?
Yes.
There are like guidelines where
I
like,
had
no
a-
coming in and selling.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you can't sell.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can, right?
Yeah. And,
Okay.
but you also like I moderate a group. I created a group and I oversee it. So I got flagged like at 11 o'clock at night saying like, hey, this guy's like being very hostile.
Oh, no.
And I had to I didn't boot him from the group, but I gave him a warning and I had to delete comments because they were inappropriate. But you can find your group. And Facebook, if I immediately log into Facebook, I see my feed and I immediately click on groups to get out of my feed.
The news feed. Oh my gosh. And I've always said
It's your friends and family.
yeah, the worst part about Facebook is your friends.
Yeah. Hi, friends. Hi.
I'm
It's-
not wrong, and I'm
No.
people's friends too,
No.
and maybe they think I'm garbage. But the worst part about Facebook is the whole point of Facebook was the friends. The worst part about Facebook is friends.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? I relate Facebook, and you can take this, especially the political season we're in, right? It's hyper. We're in hyper mode, and I relate it to politics on Facebook is like getting on the freeway. Your dear Aunt Sally can be the biggest sweetheart in the world, but she's got the worst road rage. And when everybody gets in a political comment section on Facebook, road rage comes out. Like if you happen to fall into a political conversation in person, you're normally very middle of the road. I can have a conversation, but on Facebook or any other online forum, it is, I am going to twist that knife and get my facts are right. My point of view is right. I'm going to twist and get it in there and go, aha, and I'm going to make you eat because you feel so stupid.
Right, and you're going to change your mind about everything, by the way.
Yeah, so don't even do it.
Would it? I saw something on my newsfeed. I was not following my own advice because it's addictive. It's addictive to go through the
I
newsfeed.
still, as soon as I
Yeah.
wrote that article, I scrolled for a good 20 minutes, and
Right.
but now I'm like,
yeah,
back
it's
off.
addictive, and it's truly addictive.
Yeah.
But anyway, I saw one of my friends on Facebook said social media has allowed people to get too comfortable disrespecting people without getting punched in the face.
Yeah, you wouldn't walk around. I love that. I don't think I saw that, but
No.
you wouldn't say the things so hostilely towards people and be such a jerk is the nicest
Right.
way I could put it. If you were in public, you would get punched in the face.
But back to what is your reality? I mean, you can be scared of everything right now because we're in a culture, and there's a lot of fear out there. And something that I keep thinking of, and it's interesting and ironic that we're camping a lot right now, is if you just pay attention to nature. This is also from Doc Mary. I'll have to give her a shout out, like in the
I think
notes.
you just
but
did.
well, but I'll have to put her information in the
Yeah.
notes. She's a wellness doctor, and she said she runs a Bible study, and pay attention to the lilies, pay attention to the birds, pay attention to the bees. They're not worried about COVID.
Oh, yeah.
They're not worried about race. Not that we shouldn't be conscious of it, but they're not worried about the things that we're worried about. Like life goes on, Earth keeps spinning. They're not worried.
Yeah.
So just think of the lilies. Think of the birds, right?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and just stop thinking of the news and all that stuff.
Right.
You know. Okay, we all do. And when we're glued in and we're trying to get all the facts, and the next time we're in a Facebook argument, we're gonna prove our
Right.
point and be right. Just check out. I have to watch a certain amount of news for my job, but for the most part, my news watching is 95% down. And I always had a comedian. No, he wasn't a comedian. He did sales. He was one of the number one salespeople in the world. And he was like, "Don't watch the news. Watch Family Guy. It will bring you laughter. It will bring you
I totally forget who you're talking
joy."
about. That was just my favorite.
He wrote the Little Red Book of Selling.
Oh, okay.
Not Rick Edelman, but I forget it. I think it's...
You will find out what's going on.
Yeah.
You will not miss anything by not watching the news. Someone will tell you.
Yeah.
If it's really that important,
Yeah,
they'll
like,
tell you.
And I challenge you, because everybody's glued into what happens with the schools and stuff like
Right.
that. You like, just turn it all off, and I'm sure your friend will text
Well,
you
turn
like,
it all
"Oh
off.
my God, did you see what happened with schools?"
Turn it all off. Think about what you can control. Like, I mean, people are like, "Oh man, you know, my vacation was ruined or whatever. Like, we can go to Disney or whatever." Like, what are you doing to take matters in your own hands? Like, are you being like, "Oh, everything's closed. I can't do anything this year." Or are you like, "All right, what are we doing? What
Yeah.
are we doing to make sure that we still get quality family time? What are we doing to make sure we still get away?" Oh my God. What?
Yeah, we just forced the kids out around the campfire for the past like hour, and they were like just the little devils, and we're like, "All right, go inside. We are doing
No,
anything."
It was okay though.
But no, yeah.
It was all right. I mean, but what are you doing to take matters into your own hands? What influences around you are not serving the reality that you want? Is there a toxic friend or a toxic family member? Go back to our crab pot episode. Go back to our things that are good for you no matter what episode. What can you do? You can sleep. You can exercise. You can drink water. You can go on a date with your spouse. Like, we didn't mention that, but it's a good
Yeah.
idea, right? You know,
If you can find a restaurant to go to.
we're sitting on a date right now.
Thank God.
This is a date. Podcasting's our date. It's honestly our only date recently. We don't go to a lot of restaurants, but you look really sad about that.
Yeah. We'll talk about restaurants at a different point.
What do you mean?
Just, I feel bad. It just feels so bad for restaurants. Like, it's just not happening. And because they can't get the staff back.
I think the biggest thing that devastates me about COVID-19 is, I'm sorry, not the deaths, it's the businesses that have been devastated.
The business death.
The business death. People who
Yeah.
have built their business and then this
It just, yeah.
pandemic.
Well, on that bright note, should we leave it there? Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any other examples that you want to bring up about how to change? I mean, we also talked about a few episodes ago how we have shifted our reality where we could have easily gone down the we're fighting, we're going to eventually divorce reality. That could have been our reality.
Yeah.
We could have easily been like, I hate you. We've been together a long time.
I think we just saw somebody else is like about to bite, you know.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh, man.
so it is up to you to control your reality. If you want to be condescending, if you want to pick and not be kind to each other.
Geez. You also had a reality that you had to shift early on where you thought you had an idea in your head, whether it was examples from your family or just an idea in your head that married people always bicker.
Yeah.
Didn't you have that in like past relationships? I felt like you said.
Still really easy to do. Still really easy to do.
We don't bicker a lot because we've always said that our fights are like knife fights because they escalate really fast and they end really quick and dirty. So we try not to bicker because it just doesn't, it never goes
No.
well and it's never playful.
No.
It's always ugly.
Yeah.
So we just try to avoid it. I mean,
We're bringing it all out. And we don't even drink anymore. God, imagine if we still drank on the podcast.
But that's the irony, is when you drink, you make that go away. When you don't, we've experienced this. We've quit drinking twice. This is the final time. But,
Because next time we're not quitting. Mark my words.
because
I
when
make you laugh.
you do make me laugh. But when you quit drink, when you don't drink, you
You're
have to
forced
face it all.
to hate each other at a whole new level.
And then you had a pandemic.
Then you throw a
We
little
are,
pandemic.
we are special kind of masochists.
Yeah, jeez Louise.
I think we should end it there. We're going to go off on our camping trip. We are
Yeah.
going to play bingo later.
Bingo. That's right.
I think Parker was like, she said something about it being like old. And I was like, how do you already know that bingo is old? Like, is like old lady.
She was 2 when we took her to her first one. She's like, I'm done with this. All right. You guys, we'll put the description below how to sign up for the newsletter from the blog. So when Aaron writes an amazing article, you'll have access to it.
Make it reality what you want it to be. Get rid of the influences that aren't serving you. And we'll see you next time.
So yeah.